Hola, buenos días, soy Nico. I'm sorry, don't look at me. Don't look at me. But I also feel like this was the perfect time for me to come back and do this video. Nico, what do you mean? So, I had a chemical peel and my face is currently peeling. Nico, what is that? It's a multi-layer acid drip process that helps focus on hyperpigmentation because I want even skin tone. I'm like, this is the one thing I really splurge on is skincare. Point is, I'm going to look like Freddy Krueger for the next week. Nico! But this is the perfect time because if you're on Twitter, I'm sure you've seen it. I recently dropped a Brazilian collab on that other platform. I usually don't bring it here to talk about it. Point is, people were surprised by the meat mallet. Let's say that. let's just get that out of the way. So I feel like me looking like Freddy Krueger is the perfect time to come back for an intellectual conversation because you can't really sexualize me looking like this. You can't, and that's what I'm gonna lean on. But this is a conversation that I thought was interesting. Before we get started, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive videos, weekly lives, and to be a part of the podcast that's filming. It will be uploaded this Monday, I promise. Nico, I promise. Bad bitch promise. But also, I'm going to look back to normal by the end of the week. I got this done on Friday. It takes a week to heal. Mind your business. You're going to deal with it regardless if you want this tea. So, it's going to be a conversation that not only stemmed from a tweet that Fat Rabbit Killer had posted that I agreed with, but I'm going to retell a story that I recently went through, which was bizarre, but I'll get into it. So essentially, Fat Rabbit Killer, if you don't know who he is, man with the meat mallet, I actually got to meet him in Brazil while he was out there filming with Raheem. Very sweet man. Our collab got canceled. Nico, I had a Fat Rabbit Killer collab. It was co-signed. We was about to film, and our scene partner was not feeling well that day. Nico, you got progressively angry. Yes, because it was a Fat Rabbit Killer collab. Could you imagine? That would have been my first scene. Point is, it fell through. But he made a tweet that I agree with that basically said, why is it that people that have super happy adult fun time recreationally always look down on those that do it for a check? Nico, what do you mean? Case in point, somebody had made a tweet that I didn't really agree with, and I got some of the following responses as proof that most people have a like-minded sense of it. Basically, he said, I don't know why you expect to get taken seriously when you post yourself having super happy adult fun time with people on the internet multiple times. Why do you expect to be taken seriously? And people rightfully basically said, so you're basically saying that sex workers are people that you willingly get your jollies from, but you don't see them as deserving of relationships and or love. He had tried to backpedal on his opinion when somebody followed up with the tweet basically saying, he didn't say that, it's just a personal preference, you know, some people just don't want to see their partners sexually active online, and that's perfectly okay. And he basically said, yeah, that's why I didn't dignify him with a response. And then somebody had to emphasize that wording is very important. You basically saying the fact that you thought you were deserving to be taken seriously is a general statement that applies to all people that do this process. And obviously, I'm not gonna come on here and tell y'all have an open mind because even before I did OnlyFans, y'all bitches did not have an open mind. So I'm not expecting y'all to be like, oh, an epiphany, you know, it's just not realistic. But what I will say, it was interesting because somebody basically said, don't you post sexually charged tweets and photos yourself? And this person's pinned tweet is basically, I paint naked too, which is him sitting next to a canvas and nothing but a paint apron. So it was interesting to see him basically say, you expect to be taken seriously because you monetize your sexual activity, but I do it for free, so I should be taken seriously. And that's something that I've run into personally in my own personal life. Nico, y'all know I like super happy adult fun time. Y'all know I come on here and I talk about sex positivity and sexual health, how you should be screening your partners and getting tested regularly. because I also saw a few comments about my scenes recently. And I wasn't really gonna address it on Twitter because I'm like, girl, I'm not going back and forth with Nico's profile. You all have never seen me sexually shame someone. You all have never seen me shame someone who does adult cinematography. I talk about actions that are morally questionable. I have never shamed the activity. Do you know how stupid I'd have to be? Like, y'all think I'm a walking contradiction. I'm not stupid. I see what you're saying, and I know it's usually a trap. I'm not walking into a free argument. You're going to have to pay me. But essentially, it piqued my interest, this conversation, because I recently went through something similar, where I was talking to somebody who was on Freak Twitter. Nico, what is that? Super happy adult fun time Twitter side. Constant 24/7 booty butt cheeks, that kind of thing. So this person would post their super happy adult fun time activities. They would post it with a plethora of people at once. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, just one. It really depends on how they're feeling. And I still thought they were attractive. I'm one of those people that I'm very open-minded and sexually liberated. Obviously, within measure, you should take some precautions. I'm not saying you have to use, a rubber. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you should take some precautions. Point is, I still saw him as a viable candidate of romance. And when he was in my city, I actually took him out on a date. And it went very well. I'm a very open and expressive person. We had okay chemistry. He was not very good on communication. So after that initial link up, we never really followed through with anything. But when I started the venture of not only being the cameraman, but eventually getting in front of the camera because people kept complaining, he had an issue with it. And he said, "You've changed, and I feel like you're one of those people now. You hang around those people." And I don't know if y'all have noticed, my tweets have not changed. My YouTube videos have not changed. I personally make my content, play my PS4, and watch anime. And nothing about my life has changed. If anything, it's allowed me to do those recreational activities a lot more. So I didn't understand what he was saying, and finally it boiled down to, I don't have to make a living taking my clothes off and I have a daytime career. Meanwhile, I've actively seen this person getting passed around the crew, the homies, all over Twitter. And I never brought it up in a derogatory way. And it made me see that this tweet is very valid in the sense that some people who willingly do extracurricular activities on their free time judge those that do it for a monetary gain. And I mean, that comes back to even without the concept of this person being involved in Freak Twitter. Do you know how many times I've had open dialogues about super happy adult fun time and being expressive with it and enjoying it in many plethora of different ways? And this person will openly criticize people that have OnlyFans, for example, or do adult cinematography in general. Meanwhile, I personally know that they just got tagged. It's that kind of thing where people will openly judge those that monetize their sexual appeal while also doing the same thing for free behind closed doors. That's what I personally don't understand. So definitely drop your opinions down below. How do you feel about the contradiction of people that claim sex positivity, claim sexual liberation, and claim being openly expressive with their body and who they choose to love and how they choose to love? Meanwhile, as soon as you add the monetary gain aspect of the situation to the dynamic, they become very closed-minded and conservative. Because this isn't a dialogue for those that have more conservative views, where they don't want people to see their partner online au naturel or in the act. Because I know there's no point in trying to convince somebody who wants a conservative relationship that they should open their mind, because I personally do not date people that want extremely conservative relationships. Because even before OnlyFans, I was an Instagram model, so I was always shirtless and or, that aspect or realm of societal nudity. So I've never been one of those people that's been focused on a very conservative lifestyle. So this isn't necessarily a conversation for you guys to have a dialogue basically saying that you should open your mind, but this is more so a conversation of people that are more hypocritical, where they will actively enjoy extracurricular super happy fun time in their excess time, but publicly criticize those that do it for a monetary gain. So definitely drop your opinions down below. Boop. And now a brief yet sincere shout out to my third eye tier subscribers, Stefan I and Bray S. I'm sorry if it's Stefan or Stefan, you know, those two actually confuse me often. And the topic for this week's podcast live stream is going to be dating territorial men. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in.